Hi there, I'm Allie Elliott.
Hi everybody, I'm Allie Elliott. I'm back again today. I'm going to stream something a little bit different, a little bit a different look at editing than I normally do. This is going to be the editing that falls under the Master Artist category in PPA competition at IPC and district level. And this is the compositing work. So this is not necessarily photographic skills. This is the in post work that's important, and it's really, really fun, and it's really, really time consuming. So while I am extracting, tediously extracting pieces, components for this image, I'm also going to talk to you about finding inspiration. Um, I feel like when you have a completely empty case, a case in PPA being for photographic open images as well as for, no, those are two separate cases. For in the Master Artist category, when you have nothing started ahead of time, like me, then it's a little bit daunting and overwhelming. And you have to kind of dig for the motivation to get started, even. And once you get that first one under your belt, you get a little bit of an adrenaline rush, and that carries through to the next one and the next one and the next one, and eventually you are done, or you are scrambling at the end, and then you just turn in what you've got. And I've done it both ways. I've never done it where I'm done really, really early. I was done relatively early last year for me. And I wouldn't say that I'm a procrastinator either. That's just how it has worked out. Um, we all get busy. So, very exciting ladder pictures here. I've got some other images up that I'm not going to work on live. But I'm going to start with this one. Is tentatively titled "Ladder to the Stars," and this is going to be a composite. And I'm gonna use several different elements. And let's see here. First of all, I need to find my main subject, which we photographed in the studio the other day. And this is my little girl. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Buggy. And looking at her feet right now. Her feet are the elements that I'm looking for, and her face. That might be one. So I'm gonna hold that up and then keep moving. Let's see what number that was. Um, so I'll probably be kind of all over the map today because I'm focusing on the tedious part of um, compositing is extracting. And there is a great tool on Photoshop that we will get to in a little bit that helps with that. That is a tremendous improvement over, I like that one even better, over manually extracting from square one. But with competition work, you want to be a whole lot more precise than you're going to be if you're using it to extract from green screen for like volume work for schools and sports and that kind of thing. Um, let's see. Do we have any color in there? Not a lot. This one might be worth reshooting just to kind of get more shadow on her cheeks. But that might be something we can handle in post too. Yeah, that one's still my favorite. So we'll hold on to that one. Okay, so I like how her feet are. I was not paying good enough attention when I shot this, and I've got the ladder intersecting with her foot. So I can tell you right now that's going to end up If I use her feet here, it's going to get extracted and scooched away from that ladder a little bit. Something easily I could have handled while shooting and didn't. Oh, I like those feet better though, so we're going to keep that out for sure. And that might be what I start. Sometimes I'll get lucky and I'll get top half and bottom half all exactly how I want. Rarely does that happen because I tend to be a perfectionist on these. I think you kind of have to be. Okay, and I'm going to need some input here on the basket, or then we've got a bag, which I can shrink, and I will shrink if we use it, this canvas bag. My little model there. Right now I'm liking the basket, and it's going to be filled with, she's going to be building a ladder to the stars. And bonus points if you're watching this and you know where that's from, which leads us right into finding inspiration for these things. If you went to Imaging USA, or if you go to any of the, I'm going to keep that because I want some body in her hair too. Oh, her hair got cut off. You know, you go to Imaging USA and you're among tremendous talent. Right now I'm looking for the texture of her hair. You are among incredible colleagues. I consider fellow photographers colleagues. And you see this amazing work in the Grand Imaging Awards, in competition in general. And you can't help but become inspired by what you're seeing. And then you get to a point almost where there is like you're just overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed with the amount of talent, and where do you go from there? Okay, so I'm going to start with this very dirty lens image. And what I'm looking for is just this top. This grass is going to just kind of be a texture, if even that. So this will be, I'm just going to take a big chunk of this out. And I'm going to take that out with just white. But it's almost daunting to just even get started. I've got nothing ready for my case, and I'm coming off the best showing that I've ever had. And I don't know, to get going on it, just, I have a hard time finding that motivation. So I just wanted to share some of the places that I find inspiration, motivation to get going and get started on this stuff. It's always worth it. It's always worth it. I've never ever looked back and gone, well, I wish I hadn't bothered. Maybe I have. I don't know. Now that I'm saying that, maybe I have. There have been some competitions where I've gone, that was a waste. But the only way it's a waste is if you're not taking anything away from it going forward. And I think it's actually easier, and I'm jinxing myself because now I'll do poorly in competition, but I think it's easier to grow on a competition that you don't perform well at, as long as you come away seeing things that you could do differently and you could do better, and you are excited and motivated and ready to improve on where you were before. When you come away from one that is, and I would say out of, I don't know how many years I've been doing this, because there were a lot of years as a PPA member that I didn't compete. I think I was just getting my bearings as a small business, and it was a little bit daunting. Hello, Calru. I forget what I was talking about. There were some years that I didn't compete, but I would say that out of all of those years, and it's been many, I think I get my 10-year pin with PPA this year. And then, like I said, my very first year, I was pretty fresh in business. Well, not really. I'd been in business 4 years, but I was new to this town and really making this business everything that I wanted it to be. So moving here felt like starting over. It's when I got my studio, got my storefront, and right now I'm just taking these buildings out, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. But I want to go in and be real precise because I want to keep the grass texture. The sky's all going to be gone anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I did the first year. When you're first year PPA member, they give you free entry. And I think I mentioned in my last stream that I spoke to a gentleman who went, I think, diamond his very first year entering. So it's almost like, where do you even go from there? I did not do that. My first year entering was a disaster as far as how I placed. And I think that turned out to be a really, really good blessing because I needed that humbling experience. I needed to know that I had a lot to learn. Because you start off in business and your mom's telling you how great you are and you get a lot of likes on Facebook. And then when it comes down to really valuing you, i.e. with their money, then it's not happening. And it's hard to figure out when you're getting all these accolades that don't actually mean anything. So competition is a phenomenal, unbiased way to get that feedback. And while I was having success business-wise, it did not happen for me that year in competition. It was, it's honestly it's embarrassing to go back and see what I entered to a certain extent, because it's part of what got me where I'm at today, which I'm pretty happy with professionally. But to think that I had the audacity to enter those images, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know even that you were supposed to create create presentation with your images, or any number. I didn't know what I was doing at all. I just did real basic touching up of the images, and I don't even know if I entered a full case or not, but of course it did not do well. I don't even think I watched judging because I didn't know that you could. But I had some moderate success in other competitions, smaller competitions that were more based on emotion and evoking emotion. And those certainly have their place. And I worked for many years to be able to do well at both emotional based competitions and technical based competitions, because I figure if you can conquer both of those things, then you are on a great path to success, business wise, artistically, creatively, all that good stuff. But I did not do well that first year, and I took it personally, like I was insulted. It's stupid, and I know that. But I had to be able to remove that element, and I think we'll save this as our base. So this is going to be progress. And someday it would be interesting to see how many progress images I have in my folder. Probably pretty significant amount. Okay. This is a lot of texture down here. I'm going to do my usual here and duplicate. So anyway, I took a few years off from competition while I licked my wounds and swallowed the fact that I wasn't, in fact, that great yet. and I built my business and I improved my photography. And then I got to the place where I was ready to learn and I was ready to hear what the judges had to say, where my weak points were, and what I was doing right too, so that I could continue the good stuff and undo bad habits. And then I got to where I started watching judging. That was the biggest game changer for me, was to watch judging and to see what they were looking for, to learn about their presentation. Just in general, let's see. Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to pause my thought here. And right now we're going to the Magic Selection Tour. When I am photographing schools, sports, volume, anything on green screen, and I go to my Magic Selection tool thing, Magic Wand tool, then you go right up here to select subject and it will naturally extract it. Now, it picked the wrong subject. So, what I can do is just zoom in a little bit and make sure that, just kind of help it along. Now we'll try it. Is it gonna work for me? Yeah, it did pretty well. Now I'm gonna take out the excess and we'll worry about precision later. That would be more than good enough for volume work, but not for my current purpose. Whoops, I did the wrong way. So I started to learn about competition and figuring out where to go from there. And I'll probably do this a lot while I'm concentrating, because normally I stick my tongue out, and when I'm talking I can't do that. So then I went back and started learning really what I needed to know to perform well at competition. And my work in every aspect, so my work for clients, my exhibition work, my competition, everything just improved tremendously. And on top of that, it's fun. It's fun to have a goal like that. So out of these, I've probably, this is probably my 5th year competing, and I've had 2. I bet it's been more. It feels like more than that. So I know I'm going to make this bigger. You know what? I'm going to leave this like that. I'm going to scooch it over a little bit, put my subject right in the middle, and then because I don't want that. Okay, and I'm going to copy this too. I've had 2 years that felt like success. And the first one was in 2020, and I had achieved my master's degree through PPA. And I had gotten I was a bronze medalist. And that means that in Photographic Open, all 4 of my images earned merits, and that none of them had gone, I'm spacing out today, none of them had gone loan. And I also entered separately the Master Artist category. And that was the second year that I entered Master Artist. The first year I entered Master Artist was 2018. It was the year my mother passed away, and I was working some stuff out. And I heavily underestimated the amount of time that Master Artist images take in Photoshop because I'm pretty fast. I was not figuring out that it was going to take some time. I want to leave just a smidge of that texture. So my first year in Master Artist, I didn't do very well. I created some stuff that I loved, and that is special to me on a personal level, but looking back, I understand why they didn't do as well as I hoped that they would do. I was also, so my mom passed in March, and then I had surgery 3 weeks later that was a surprise, to put it nicely. Because of that, the time frame that I had to create these was incredibly short, and I was also recovering emotionally and physically, and I just didn't finish them the way I should have. Not to say like I don't feel like I got robbed or anything like that. I just wasn't in a place that I was ready to enter. I'm glad I did, because it got me prepared for the next year. 2019 was the year that I feel like I did well, which the Grand Imaging Awards and all of that, Imaging USA, was in 2020, January 2020, just before the world shut down. And that is where the pinnacle of all your year's work of competition happens. So I obtained my master's degree from PPA, which was a huge accomplishment, very exciting. And then I was a bronze medalist in Photographic Open. On top of that, I not only got my first Master Artist Merit, but I also got my first Master Artist Loan. And I was really, really pleased with that. And I actually think maybe that year I feel like I got a second Master Artist. Oh, I did. I did get a second Master Artist image in Merit, and then I had two that did not. But it was a step in the right direction. It was definitely the best that I had ever done at competition. And I'm going to grab her little feet from here. And it made me want to keep going. So I'm not sure this will work. We'll see. All right, let's see if this will extract. This is new. It did. That is a huge time saver. Anyway, I forget what I was talking about. Anyway, I haven't even gotten to my first point, so get comfortable. I'm going to grab this just for, uh-oh, it didn't get this leg. So here's another little tool, the Magnetic Lasso. You run it along a line and it'll hug that line for you, which is very helpful. And you just have to be careful where you have tones that are similar. Almost left her whole leg behind. And then I'll grab this one that doesn't. That might be not her hand. So it's important to find ways to motivate yourself. And it's not easy. It's not the easiest part of the process. Just getting started, especially this part where it's a little bit tedious. So this, and I feel like my crop is going to be off. I may end up building it this size and then I might change it to a portrait orientation once I get the moon in there. So this idea came to me. This is my first point. I've got a lot of points to make, but this is my first one. I like to go to music and go into lyrics and anything that is usually when I am editing, whether it's for my client work or for competition or exhibition, whatever, I am listening to music. 999 out of 1,000 times I'm listening to music. So since I can't infringe on anyone's copyright, I am talking instead. But normally I'd be listening to music, and I tend to listen to the same album for the same project, so over and over and over. So when I spent 4 years working on my last exhibition, I listened to basically that same album for 4 years, and as long as I live, every time I hear it, that's what it's going to make me think of. So a lot of times the music, even if it's something that I've listened to, like Bob Dylan's Forever Young, my entire life or for years and years, it'll just, a line will stand out, or, it'll seem important all of a sudden, and I'll want to pull that out for whatever reason. A lot of these little bumps, I'm gonna grab my smudge tool if I can find it to smooth out, like, that's too big, to smooth out just these little imperfections right here. And this is gonna be a pretty dark image, like lighting wise. So a lot of this stuff will get blended later on, so I don't have to be terribly precise. Or I can go in, like here, what I can do is just clone it a little bit if I've got something that has that same angle. And I do. My eyebrows twitching. So these little details will be a big difference in the final. Oh, and here I cut part of her leg off. So I'll just grab that piece and then go real small and make that up. Easy does it. And I'll smooth out some of these wrinkles in processing, because that is a linen dress that apparently holds every wrinkle that even looks its way. So anyway, I get a lot, probably more than any other source. My two sources are the Bible and song lyrics, where I get a lot of inspiration, and they just speak to me, so I fit them in there somehow. Okay, so we'll grab 1719. So that's the first place, and probably the vast majority of the titles and the concepts, all that stuff, very, very much comes from song lyrics, hymn lyrics, and the Bible. And now this is kind of an old school way here to extract. So this will be significantly more time consuming. but that's okay. So I'm going to line up the dress and I'm going to erase this back. Okay, so I'm going to have to watch. So the more I look at this, the more I'm going to smooth out those. I wonder if this will work. Just going to use this on everything. Kinda. Not really. I'm looking at this ladder not matching up, and I know that I'm gonna have to adjust the angles somewhat. But this is where it's easier to just get it right when you're shooting it. But I didn't, so here we are. That's okay too. Now that proportion is off. So something is, I've got a weird angle going on here. And I might end up actually, tell you what, let's do this a little bit differently. We're just gonna grab and a lot of times, I'm going to select inverse here and delete that. With this compositing, it'll be a lot of trial and error. And I may not end up using anything from the beginning. In fact, I had a concept that I showed in my last video that it earned a merit. So, and it's one that I personally really, really love. And it's actually the same little lady in there. But, well, that's not working at all. I did the concept, I used it. Oh boy. I used the concept the year before in a competition to gauge which images. I had too many images actually, and I wasn't sure which to enter, so I entered a different competition to see which would perform better, not expecting it to do well, and proceeded with other images, and it did really well. I didn't love how it turned out, but I really liked the concept, so we reshot it completely, and by we I mean my family, and it earned a merit, and it definitely wouldn't have the year before, but I didn't want to enter it knowing that it could be better. I've made that mistake before where I've entered something in not necessarily PPA. I tend to do this with Portrait Masters a little bit, where I'll enter something to kind of test the waters to see how it'll do in PPA, and then I can't enter it again in that one. So I've made changes and it's significantly better, and it's too late. I can't enter it because I already did. I entered a different version that wasn't as good. And this is the part of compositing that is tiring and daunting and frustrating, because I'm probably going to stumble on a picture here where I could have just used the whole thing and not gone through all this, but I haven't found it yet. So songs are the vast majority of where I get my titles, and I've mentioned before I like to find my titles. I'd prefer to have a title first. I will occasionally, like this year is one of the years I happen to have concepts before I have titles, and it kind of it's harder for me to pull details out because I don't have a clear direction in my mind. So I heavily prefer to have the title first. Now it's worked out pretty well in some, and then in some I just end up entering them and their titles are boring to me or contrived. But I prefer to avoid that if I can. I'm going to add back in some of her hair here, just because I'd rather erase it from the other one than have to figure out how to add it. And I won't worry about the ends because I'm going to add a little bit of body, a little bit of curl. So, of the concepts that I'm working on this year, I'm not sure that any of them actually have titles yet. One. One of 8 are titled so far. And one, I might be pulling a master artist image that did not merit and pulling it out and making some adjustments to it to see if maybe it can do better this year. Okay, I might end up cutting her arm off here anyway because she's got an arm. So violent. Let's see. Actually, we may not end up. Oh yeah, we do need that arm because we need the basket. Okay. So we'll get her a little bit bigger. And this is just roughing in. By the end of the stream today, it's not going to look like any work of art. It's going to be roughed in with rough edges and just kind of starting to gauge where we want to go with it. So I'm going to pull this up to the front and erase back that arm. Let's see if they'll help us out. That's pretty close. I'll accept it. So, most of my titles and therefore concepts and therefore details and all that good stuff come from Bible verses and songs. And it doesn't even have to be a song that I like. Sometimes like a song or an artist that I don't particularly like I'll hear it in Peloton music or whatever, or on the radio, and something about that line will just stick with me. And there's one song that I don't care for the artist at all, and a whole mob would come after me if I said who it was because she's very popular. But there's one line that is just really sticking with me that I might end up having to incorporate somehow just to kind of get it. You know, you get a song stuck in your head and the only way to get rid of it is by listening to it. So maybe I just need to do something with that song lyric to get it out of my head. All right. So I'm going to keep, maybe, I don't know. Do I want to keep that? I'm thinking I might keep the ladder right there just for the purpose of, oh no, see, she's got a halo on her face, so I'll have to make sure and let's go ahead and get rid of that while I'm thinking. See, I get distracted really easily. Nope, I don't want to do that. And then I'll take that back. And then we'll go down to like 2 pixels. That's plenty. All right. So that kind of segues into my other, my next place of inspiration, which is just exercise and getting those endorphins going. And that is when I've been a distance runner since I was 15. And when I'm on a run is when I have come up with so many ideas to just kind of clear my head and think, and then come up with some, because not only do you come up with the idea, but you have time, depending how long your run is, you have time too to work it out, and maybe like work out some of the concept to make it makes more sense to you. So by the time by the time I get home and am ready to tell my husband about it and think through and start shooting it, then it's all handled. And that has been a source of, or even if it's not the actual, I'll think really hard about my concepts and consider elements to add, or titles, because that's important. And it doesn't always work out that it just comes to you when you're wanting it to. It comes to you when it comes to you. So just exercise in general is a really important, and that's not even, that's just science. Can't fight it. But it's definitely a great way if you are stuck on an image, you're working on it, and it's just not coming together, like this one right before our eyes. Just take a break and move your body, and you'll feel better about it, and you'll be ready to come back with new eyes and a new vision for it. So those are the first two. I go back to my childhood a lot when looking for inspiration. This is frustrating. Okay, so I like her head. I'm just going to go ahead and erase some of this back just to get this. There's a lot of clutter here. And I can't think when I'm seeing all that. So her arm needs to go. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to soften this line too. And actually just get rid of that. Okay, so she's just a little floating head now. Nope, that's not the right one. There it is. Okay. So this one needs a lot of work. So the concept that I'm working on is tentatively titled Build a Ladder to the Stars. If you know Bob Dylan music, you know that is where that came from. And I've loved Bob Dylan's music since I was a kid, really, teenager, at least. But I have had many titles or nods to him in my work, in my body of work still. And when I was in college, I took a summer off of work and followed him on tour and had an absolute blast. But it was part of my formative years that are important to me, and that kind of goes along with my next place to find inspiration, is your strongest memories. And not necessarily your favorite memories or your best memories or all happy memories, but just your strongest memories, where you can put yourself back in that place and remember those strong emotions and be able to create that emotion visually for your viewer. And one of the 12 elements in PPA, 12 elements of a mirror image, I just cut right under her hand. I'm going to go back to my history. There we go. Can't do that with painting. So See, I did it again. With a painting, I just would have chucked it across the room. But you tap into those strong memories, and that's when you can relate. And one of the 12 elements of a mirror image is impact. And I think that's probably the hardest one to teach, because people get in their heads that impact has to be controversial, or has to be exciting, it has to be big. I believe that it just has to be relatable. It has to be something that people look at and can feel. And that's not the only way to do it, but that is, I think, a really strong way to go about that, because, you know, as humans, there are emotions that, you know, transcend differences in our lives, and being able to connect with a lot of people because of that emotion is impactful. And to do that through our work is therapeutic and lucrative. I mean, it's anything that you can think it could be. So if you're looking to connect with people, that's how you do it. You do it through introducing an impactful emotion to them and reintroducing it, because they've already been there and they can relate to you. So tapping into those memories is usually kind of an involuntary thing. Looking at pictures, you know, when somebody passes away, we all look at pictures and reminisce. And I think that's important to do, even when, you know, there's not some reason for it. But just to do it, just to tap into those memories and be able to relate. And when I do my marketing talks, one of the things that I talk about is nostalgia. If you look at any successful marketing, not any, but a lot of successful marketing campaigns, you can see this tapping into a time in the past. Everybody, that's why Christmas commercials are so popular, because people are tapping into that childhood emotion. And if you can tap into nostalgia, you're going to connect with the vast majority of your audience. And that's a really valuable thing for a small business owner, for a marketer, you know, to be able to tap into nostalgia and Christmas memories, childhood memories. You know, you'll see like chips and pop companies will do their retro packaging and stuff. So we're all revisiting our childhood, but because the Coke looks like, or the Pepsi or whatever looks like it did when we were little, and people want that feeling. So that's another place that I look for inspiration at. Inspiration. And a lot of times in competition, you could look at people creating nostalgic images. You know, there's a whole category for photo restoration, and that's a technical happening, but it's also because we are all tapping into you know, a different time period, and that's fun. All right, I gotta figure out what to do with this mess down here. What do I want to do with it? That is a mess too. I'm gonna warp that. And I say a lot, try not to warp stuff because you're messing with pixels, but I sure call on it a lot. So when I get to this point where I'm starting to get frustrated, I want to bring in some of the other elements and start really, it'll be like a really rough sketch of what the final element's going to be. So I'm going to do that now because it gets, okay, so I am not an astrophotographer by any stretch of the imagination. That is a whole different beast, but this is a star picture that I took. And this star picture, these stars are going to house the moon. So I think I'm actually going to I updated my Photoshop not that long ago, and some of the hotkeys are different. There we go. So I'm going to smush it just a little bit. And that is definitely something we're going to have to play around with because I am not good at photographing the stars. But there are some elements in there, like there's a little cloud swooping through there that I like. But for right now, we'll just leave this. I'll probably do a gradient down here, but for right now, I'm just going to kind of erase back that harsh line. That'll do. And then just because I can't just leave it right now. I can't help myself. Okay, that's definitely going to go a lot darker. I have a, what is that line right there? Oh, it's this. Okay, so I guess I'll erase that back too. All right, so we got a long way to go. I know that, but I have a moon picture that I need to find. So if you were my moon picture, I know I had it in a client image. What was their name? Did I? Oh, you know what? I titled a folder moon. Good job. Okay, and again, this is definitely not my specialty. So that one's not too bad. See, there's not a lot of detail in there by any stretch. So hopefully I got better at as the night went on. Oh, that one had a little more detail. Well, not a lot. That one's, let's see, what do we think? Probably still that one. All right, let's see if we got anything better. Not that one. Oh, okay. A little color in it. I might actually use both of these just because I think layering is going to offer me a little more crisp detail, and this is a big element, so I want to make sure that I get it right. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest, that these moon pictures are making me a little nervous because they're not great. That is definitely an area that I need to improve on if I need moon pictures. And apparently I do, because I call on those a lot. From that one time that I attempted moon pictures. And I do have a little I don't even know the name, when the moon is not full. I think that's the technical term for it, when the moon is not full. You know what? Okay, so here is something to consider. I think it might be about time to change the crop of this. And I almost never do a portrait orientation, but if I'm going to, I probably need to do it now. So what I'm going to do is save this as progress, and then I'm going to crop the whole shebang and save it as progress too. It's going to be my little cheat, so that I can go back if I need to. So how do I want to do this? I don't know. I feel very indecisive right now. I think maybe like this, but I don't want to lose that grass and stuff. We'll just start here, and then go ahead and save it as progress 2, and the tailspin into having 900 copies of the same image has begun. Okay, so here's my moon, and the moon is going to come up right in front of the stars. And the stars, we'll just move those right on up to 100%, and I'm going to duplicate them and then pull them up here. And just put them a little off center from the others so that there aren't any defined patterns. With the moon, nope, moving the whole thing. My plan was to make the moon really big, but I kind of like the idea of it sitting up here. Like that. And then we'll see if we could get a clean selection. That looks pretty good. I gotta get around my camera. And then, okay, so the idea here is that she's building a ladder to the stars and climbing on every rung, and then she will stay forever young. Those are the lyrics. So she's got her basket. I'm gonna clean this up because this is this clutter of images is kind of bugging me. I'm gonna leave that one because I might have erased too far. We might need those again, and we are done with that. So, do we like the yellow, or should I use both? I don't know. So the idea here is that she is building her ladder to the stars, and she's got the rungs in her basket and is kind of building it. So I'm going to have the two ladders, you know, legs or whatever, going up further with no rungs, and she's got them in her basket. So we've got to add all of that, make that happen. So what I want to make sure with this moon is that we can, oh, the moon's not going to match up. There we go. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't know which one I like. I go through this a lot. Where I'm just not. I'm not confident. It'll come together. And actually, one of my images of her that was just kind of a case filler, and it was something that I knew I could get done real quick. ended up going alone. I think that one is way better. So I'm gonna just keep this kind of yellowy moon and go ahead and bump up that. Yeah, that's plenty. That's crazy, right? Am I alone in that? I might actually just leave it. I just wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to get it there. Okay. So right now my composition is in a really weird place because I'm not quite rules of thirds, and I'm not vertically, and I'm not rules of thirds horizontally. I'm not center. I'm not rotation or spiral. I'm not thinking right today. But I don't have a good composition right now. Right now, all I'm doing is piecing together the elements. I know that the ladder needs to have the rungs coming up with nothing inside. I know that there's something weird going on with the light down here. I know that her dress needs to be addressed. What is going on down there? Oh, we lost a chunk of the ladder. That's not good. Okay, I'm going to address that now while I'm looking at it. Where is the ladder? There it is. Okay, I'm going to duplicate and then delete one of them back, and then this one I should be able to address with just the clone. This is gonna be this, you know what, I'm just gonna cut this puppy down a little bit and just fill in that highlight. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I know, and I need to add the rungs in there, and of course all the finishing touches. When you get to the finishing touches, that's the fun part. That's where you can really get the party started. And let's see, I might just have to go back. That's a different image. Did I get rid of my ladder? I think I did. Okay, so we'll use this one. And I'm just going to zoom in there and see if Photoshop will do my work for me. Because this has a nice angle. Okay. And then I will get back to, I got distracted. Oh, I see why it got cut off there, because it's missing kind of a, that was not pretty. Okay. We actually won't even need that. So we'll just take this whole chunk out and then head back in here. Oh, I had a little piece. So what I need to do now is match the angle up, because the first thing that will stand out is the angle not being right. Oh my gosh, that looks so cute. I'm obsessed. I don't even know. It must be matching up because I don't even... Okay. And then back up and check it out. Okay, so this side's gonna be the problem child, because I did change, there we go. I did change the proportions a little bit. So I've got to make sure that the lines, not quite yet, But I tell you what'll make this easier is, now that's getting there. When I take the rungs out of up here, then I can clone stamp all the live long day. Somehow her hand is not on a rung now, so that's going to have to be addressed, but not yet. Let's see if we are able to. There we go. We'll address it. You know what? We will. We'll address it right now. Consider it addressed. All right, cool. So I think we're in. So let's see, where's that coming out of her chin? Okay, so I'm just going to, that's huge. We don't need it that big. Oh, that is much better. Get that ladder out of her chin, and it's coming together. I like it. So we need to get these rungs handled. And first thing I'm going to do is the first thing I always do is copy and save. And clean some of this up. Okay, so now I'm going to take the rungs out. And then, so we've already talked about songs and exercise and strongest memories. Movies is kind of a cop-out because this is kind of the same thing as songs. Just like lines, lyrics. Where'd my ladder go? Here we go. Anything that moves you. There's like, so I'm one of those people that watches every Christmas movie. No matter how bad it is, no matter how many times I've seen it, I'm going to watch it every year, every Christmas movie. I don't think it's humanly possible to go through all the Lifetime or Hallmark Christmas movies, but I do what I can. And definitely all the classics. And there is a movie that's kind of, I don't think it was ever very popular, and it was one of those that I didn't know existed until it was probably 5 or 6 years old. I can't actually think of the name of it. It's Meet Somebody. But there's a line in there that really stands out to me that kind of went it wasn't a big deal line. It wasn't like, like in It's a Wonderful Life when they put in every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Well, they knew that was going to be a tagline. That was going to be something that people remembered. This movie, and I'm going to screw it up. And I looked it up to try to, see if it got attention the way I feel like it should have. And I couldn't even find the line like as a quote in the movie or anything, but for whatever reason, it really stood out to me. And it talked about this lady who is old now, and she had kind of lost her mind. The movie is Meet the Coopers. I just thought of it. But this old lady had kind of lost her mind, and she was very endearing. But, sometimes with the elderly, they're just thought of as elderly, and they're not thought of as who they were in their prime. And there was a quote from the narrator about her saying, like, she spent the Christmas of 46 dancing and carefree, not realizing she'd be anything but, never considering she'd be anything but young. And for whatever reason, that really, that line just stood out to me and made me consider, that aspect. So those are the kind of lines that that I'm talking about when I'm saying to look for inspiration. Not necessarily that, because you'll see, I mean, you watch judging and you'll see a lot of references to Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, or, you know, It's a Wonderful Life. The angel wings are kind of contrived and very overdone. And if that's the best one for your piece, then that is. And it's always kind of frustrating when that happens, when that's your best line and it makes sense and it works really well, but you know there are going to be a million other people using it. So you have to weigh whether or not that adds or takes away from what you're trying to do. But try to look at some of your favorite songs and movies and stuff like that in a new light, and maybe something a little more obscure will strike a chord and create some excitement, some motivation for an image. All right, so she's got her ladder being built. We need to put the rungs in her basket. And we need to clean up her hair and her dress. But I think it is starting to come together very nicely. I get antsy at this point. I want to flatten it and, you know, highlight and burn. And it's just not time yet. The time is coming. So her dress and her hair are the real major factors right now. And let's see how we want to. I'm going to definitely take this highlight down on her hair a little bit, because the main highlight is going to be the moon. And when we flatten it and when we're dodging and burning, that'll really, I can do a really heavy dark vignette where it's just a hint of texture and barely any color, and toy with the light, because this is such a strong light source. My sketch for this had the moon huge, like 3/4 of the image. So I might do that too. I get, if you have strong feelings about where this should go, let me know in chat here. Let me know in the comments. Unless it's been like a year and I've already entered it and you could have helped me do better, then that's just frustrating for both of us. Okay, so what we need to do here is, first of all, see what's going on with her hair. I think maybe we did lose a little bit of detail, so we can add that back in. We lost some eyebrow there, but that's all pretty easy fix. I think it might end up being worth reshooting the back of her hair with a lower level kicker, and then also on a black backdrop, so that going through and see right here, she shot on a lighter backdrop. I wonder if she was backed up against Daddy in any of those. That would actually be fantastic. But I don't think so. Oh yeah, there she is. Okay. I'm just gonna grab this one then. 1755. Oh, no. Here we go. And then the last place that I have recorded for motivation is just being out in nature, in the city, you know, whatever draws your attention. You know, if you're a people watcher and you like to go to the city, and by the city I mean any city, and just kind of watch people and see what is catching your attention. if you are a country person or, you know, a nature lover, go on a hike. And that's two of my 5 places to find motivation. If you go on a hike, because you're getting your endorphins going, you're exercising, and then you're out in the elements and seeing what is going to draw your attention. And this is significantly more crisp than what we were working with. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So those are my 5 places to find motivation. And if you have places too, let me know. Let everybody else know. Because sometimes it's hard, like getting started is the hard part. And once you're in it, you won't want to stop. You get in the zone. But you have to get past this tedious part. That is it's not fun to get get the extractions made and get the layout complete. And once you get there, then it's worthwhile to be able to look back and be excited about it. And sometimes that's why you have to get through this part at first. You have to do this, just get all the tedious part done, because if you don't, then you won't want to start that again. Okay, like right now, I know I should be wrapping up, but I hate to leave it at this point because it needs so much work still. All right, so I'm going to save that. I do know that I need to sit on this composition because this isn't working. You know what? Let's try something here. Is anybody on chat? Is that my family? How do you feel about that? I feel like this might be good. This might be a good switch. So if we just take everything. Nope, that didn't work at all. What's going on here? There we go. I don't want to take the stars. So, nope. Oh, that's what's going on. All right, now let's try it. Okay. All right. I don't hate it. Kind of like it. I think it's better. I think we're moving in the right direction. Get rid of that. And then let's do all of this, and we're going to give her a little bit of a tilt. So let's show rulers. There they are. Okay. So, oh good, it's divisible by 3. That helps. All right. So, there's my first third. Where's the line for it? It's right behind my camera, so it probably looks like I'm like staring you down, and I apologize. Okay, so here are my thirds. And let's take her and her ladder and put, nope, that's something else. Okay, so let's take everything that's not the background. And that still didn't work. Okay, shift. I'm holding the front one and the back one. Now, we're gonna move everything that's not the background over so that her face lands right on the rule of thirds. Now we can address the moon and our options here. So we could go like, I'm trying to figure out how I want that to. We could keep it all in, or we could, first of all, we've got all these chunks of moon background that are haunting us because I enlarged it before I deleted. This was a really roundabout way of doing that. But it's done now. Okay, so duplicate as always and save. Now, what to do with the moon? So option 1 would be just to leave it. Oh my gosh, there's more moon ghosts. Okay, so, nope, stop that. Okay, so we could leave it this size, which is kind of weird and indecisive. Oh my gosh, that's gonna drive me nuts. There, okay. Are there more? Okay. Okay, so here's one option. So I'm going to title this Smaller Moon. And then copy it. And then go with Bigger Moon. And we'll see what we like better. I think I already know which one I like better, but I don't know. That's a lot of pressure. All right, there's Little Moon, there's Big Moon. I tell you what I'm gonna do first is grab these and give her tilt a little bit more. And then we're probably going to end up warping this a little bit because I want her to tilt a little. I'm not going to do that till the very end though. But we'll give her a little tilt and then I'm going to scooch her back so that that beautiful highlight on her face is lining up with our rule of thirds. Like we like. So, and then I'm going to get rid of these so they're out of my way. Because I don't plan on moving her again. So what we'd end up doing is just bringing this leg back a little bit and kind of doing a perspective shift. Right now, I am leaning towards Little Moon because I think Big Moon is taking way too much attention. But we'll leave it there as an option too. Okay, so now I've made it more difficult by flipping it because everything was shot the other way. But the last major element is, well, in finishing, we need a shadow. And I'll show you a little hack for a shadow. Probably not till the next video because that's a finishing touch kind of a thing. I still don't, I'm going to think about this composition quite a lot because I don't like it. It's kind of an 8 by 10 composition. It looks close to it. And I don't like 8 by 10s at all. Maybe an 8 by 12 we could work with. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's 12 by 15. Okay. All right. I'm going to think about that. And then I'm going to do some of the tedious work of bringing in the basket with the rungs. Where are the rungs? We're getting some body under her hair. That was one option. There's one. So 1752, 1754. That face. All right, let's try that real quick. 1752 and 54. Okay, so to save myself some trouble, I'm going to flip and flip so that we're at least working on the same direction. And we'll go in here real tight for this. And bring it way up to the front. So I got the angle wrong, but what I really wanted anyway was the shadow created. And that will work. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna try with the magnetic lasso. The problem that we'll run into here is then it won't pick up the highlights. And that's okay. We can address that. It's kind of a non-factor. These won't be noticed except for a mistake. These aren't a terribly valuable detail, but if somebody sees it and they say, okay, there are the rungs, she's building her ladder. That's why instead of ladder to the stars, I am going right now tentatively with the title Build a Ladder to the Stars, because I need to explain what's happening. Okay, so she might just have 2 in there because for one thing, she's almost to the top. And for another thing, I don't want to I don't want to mess with more than 2 because we didn't have, I was initially considering cutting the ladder up. We got a really good deal. Oh no, this is something that'll have to be addressed too. Where is, okay, where is the ladder? There's the ladder. So I need, okay. And then we go back to the rung. All right, and I'm pretty close to wrapping up for the day because my gorgeous little model daughter here is having her happy birthday. And she's going to be ready to party. All right. So far, so good. How this will translate in the finished piece, I don't know. We'll see about that. But I think there's one more. Yeah, there's one more that we can do. That might be just enough to garner a little bit of attention and help the explanation for the story. So I think that might be good to leave just like that. And then I can't see, it looks like it's right behind my camera. So it probably looks like I'm going cross-eyed for a minute, but it's all is well. All right, and I'm just gonna try not to make those edges too stark the whole way around, because those are the kinds of little details that'll draw attention. And that one's a little bright, so I can address that now, or I can address that there. That just takes it down just enough. This is definitely one that I'm going to need to walk away from and then come back, because I'm dying to color it, flatten it, and play with that light, because it's really going to make an enormous difference on an image like this. But I definitely don't want to do it too early and then create either more work for me in the future, or just make it not as promising an image as it could be. So for right now, I'm going to cut out and get ready for my baby's party. And thank you for your time and attention here on Twitch or on YouTube in the future. Let me know if you have opinions and thoughts about this this composite, the composition of it. It needs some help. I'm just not quite sure which direction to go in. I'll definitely still be working on this in the coming days. So join me back here. Make sure you follow me on Twitch. That's completely free. You can subscribe, which is not free, but it takes care of the ads. You can subscribe for free on YouTube, and follow me on Instagram too. Thanks so much. Bye.
That's why you my mommy. Please.